So welcome to the Multi-Level Mastermind Models Mastery with our special guest, New Era Mastermind Facilitator, AliNICOLE Wow. Today we'll be introduced to several variations of mastermind models that we can leverage in our business. A special thanks to Tammy Riches for asking AliNICOLE to provide the training for us to explore different types of mastermind models. Before I welcome AliNICOLE and share a little about her, Tammy, would you say a few words about AliNICOLE and also why you were interested in having her do a training in this area?
Absolutely. I'd absolutely love to do that. AliNICOLE and I have been friends for many years now. We've not formally met, but we've done a lot of collaborating together and a lot of interviews. And what's come out as a result of that is so much commonality. We might be living in opposite ends of the world, but we come from a very similar mindset. And so Ali and myself are very great at connecting and helping other people see their worth, I suppose. And what fascinated me about Ali is all the different models and everything that she has and teaches and delivers very well as well, and creates and helps people get value for the time that they spend and get paid for the time they spend. And so one of the things that we were talking to recently about was customer clients and coaching clients, and how best, I was asking how best I could leverage my time with my coaching clients, because instead of coaching them, I put them in events, and from the events I want to put them into a mastermind. So I was already physically doing masterminds many years ago, but I'm really interested in Ali's online mastermind version, because a lot of my clients, it will just leverage my time by having them involved in a mastermind and allowing them to be empowered, I guess, for me to guide, but for them to make progress themselves rather than doing the one-on-one consults. It's more of a wide range thing. And so Ali has these beautiful multi-level mastermind models that she has, and I'm so grateful that she's offered to share them with us. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to seeing what she has to offer.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to share a bit about AliNICOLE. AliNICOLE Wow has been a highly sought out mastermind trainer over the years, and I'm privileged to be mentored by her in a high-level mastermind cohort group. She is most known in the media as AliNICOLE Wow. She does it all, and she's the creator of over 500 online platforms, including Wow. She's got masterminds, and she also has published around 300 works on Amazon. She's passionate about teaching multi-level mastermind models and demonstrating how using non-traditional formats can expand your brand and your business for high-level impact and income. I know from personal experience that you're going to receive tremendous value from what AliNICOLE will share. So welcome, AliNICOLE. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And also, Tammy, thank you so much for wanting to actually have this type of training. I do hope that it will be extremely valuable, because this is really a high-level time to be stepping into the masterminding space, and especially in a very non-traditional way. So I'm very excited to be able to share a few things with the audience today. And so, Gina, thank you so much for hosting this as well.
My pleasure.
Well, over the years, I really have thoroughly enjoyed facilitating mastermind groups, and also being brought into other groups as a mastermind trainer. Just as Gina was saying, I've definitely been, over the years, highly sought out for that in a lot of private work. But I also have found so much value myself in participating in masterminds for my own expansion, so I know the greater benefits of it. One of the things that I really enjoy and love is bringing more of the evolutionary aspects and new era innovations to mastermind formats. And this is primarily for up-leveling one's service. As I said, this is really a high-level time to actually be having mastermind services, you know, within your business framework and on different levels. So my goal today is really to introduce a few of those multi-level approaches in order for you to see how you can maximize your higher potential and really set high-level intentions for your masterminding efforts. So the multi-dimensional models is what I teach, or multi-levels. And this is really about creating solid structures for greater impact and also income advantages. And I'm sure everyone on here definitely could use more income, right? Yes, for sure. So really, if you really want to start to accelerate your success and advance really into the higher aspects of your services, and the formats that I'm going to be sharing today are really going to be the ones I highly encourage for consideration. So as mentioned previously, I've been facilitating masterminds for several years, and I've found really it to be the best process for, I would say, a high level achievement, especially in the entrepreneurial space and in the business world. In fact, I do, you know, consulting and training on how to create actually an entire mastermind empire with the simplistic model. So if you're familiar with the mastermind concept, most know that it was inspired by the author of Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, his experience of having several conversations with Andrew Carnegie, and he attributed his success and his accomplishments to his mastermind groups. So throughout Napoleon's career, he was a huge advocate of mastermind groups and that whole concept. And he really felt that it was the best way, how can I say it, to marry both the personal and professional experiences into a cohesive structure in order to catapult one's success. So I actually want to share a quote by Napoleon Hill in regard to masterminding. He says, if you find yourself weak in persistence, surround yourself with a mastermind group. And I could not agree more. And this is why I highly, highly recommend facilitating mastermind groups, because it's really about creating the sacred space so that you can be a source of support for others' greatness, and also to help them achieve their now and next levels of results. So I often find when others, like those of you who are here who are interested in facilitating masterminds, when you do, you as the trainer become empowered. And so I know Tammy has mentioned that she's done live masterminds and now more interested in coming in the online space to do some facilitations to serve at the higher level. And I'm sure she can definitely attest that she's empowered as she's empowering others. Would that be correct, Tammy?
Oh, absolutely. Whenever you coach anyone or offer a piece of advice and you're helping someone, you always walk away feeling more empowered. And often it's the thing that you're actually delivering or teaching is the lesson that you most need to learn yourself. So
yeah.
I just as a side note to that, Ali, I was talking to some people about surrendering one day, and it was so powerful. It's just really divinely led. And I was like, wow, that is so powerful. And I really needed to learn that myself, even though I was delivering it. And that's when I got my aha moment and breakthrough. So absolutely could not agree more. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's a perfect example for sure. So we can either use the chat box for this portion, or if everyone's comfortable just to speak, if you've conducted mastermind groups or have been a part of one. I know Tammy just shared hers, but if anyone else wants to share either in the chat or just out loud, if you actually have participated or facilitated a mastermind before.
I've facilitated a range of masterminds. I have to say, for the most part, face-to-face. I've done one or two online, and it requires almost more energy online, I think, than when it does face-to-face, because you've got to try and tune in a very different way.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. You sharing that is a great perspective too. I'm sure you can relate to that. Anyone else want to share? It's not mandatory, but just trying to get a feel of the energy and just in terms of experience.
I used to host live masterminds, AMAT live mastermind group, but that was years ago, 10 plus years ago. I have not run them or participated in an actual mastermind since then.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for sharing that, because this is important, because the level in which you're entering in, even though I'm going to be setting kind of a new foundational premise, because things that I'm going to be sharing are kind of non-traditional in the mastermind formats, even though I still do encourage some of the traditional models. But anyone who knows about me, I'm really about simplistic models and doing things in a very off the grid type of way and making business work easier, you know, for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and provide a few mastermind formats for you to consider. So are we ready to move forward for me to share that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Just on that, Ali, I have been part of online mastermind groups, but actually not facilitated them myself. So really interested in, and I love the simplistic nature that you make everything. So thank you, so grateful.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I am all about simplicity and also diversity in everything, because I believe you can serve your ideal audience and your clients, you know, at the highest level when you can actually offer different variations of mastermind. So I'm excited to get into sharing that. So a few that I just want to introduce within this call. So the first one I want to talk about is seminar style masterminds. And these can be like a one-day training or weekend training. It can be on a core topic, and you can have an interactive masterminding or network component with that. So what I'm going to do is just go through a few. I'm not going to go into detail on all of them. I mean, I have several, but I'm just sharing a few today. And then after I go through and share, then the space can be opened up and I can start to support and maybe help you explore some of these options that may be beneficial for you to use now or in the near future for sure. So the second one is a private workshop mastermind. And these can be sort of your medium ticket to high-end small groups of 4 to 6 participants. And so this is not a traditional, you know, mastermind, because it's meant to be done kind of in a small space. You can facilitate this either over a weekend or a few weeks. It just really depends. You'll be able to see a lot of what I'm going to be sharing. You sort of customize it to what's going to be relevant to serve at the highest level. Now, one of my favorite formats is cohort-based masterminds. And this is where you can have really up to 10 people that you can even partner together for collaboration and also high-level network opportunities. So that's one of my favorites, and I can talk a little bit more about that after I go through most of these. Also, Mastermind Series. So these can be conducted in a format where you facilitate maybe a series of trainings that the participants they meet for, let's say, several times over a few weeks, and you can focus on one core area. And then normally, like when I facilitate these, there's a break of a week or 2 weeks, and then you return for the next part of the series. Also, audio-based training masterminds. So definitely for those of you who want to leverage your time more effectively, you can have pre-recorded audios that you have for your mastermind group to listen to prior to the meetings. And then you're able to have more discussion and support them, whether in a Q&A format or the laser consulting type of format, or just however you're going to facilitate that. But you definitely can save a lot of time by allowing them to go ahead and pre-hear trainings, so that maybe you're not spending the time during your actual mastermind call doing the training. You can get really into the meat and potatoes of how you want to serve them at the highest level. Another format is publications of book club masterminds. These work really well. I really like these. So for those of you who are journalers or you have publications, yeah, you definitely can host a mastermind group around a particular book and create, whether it's sort of, you know, an action plan or curriculum or so that you just want to take them through, but you leverage the book really as the training aspect of the mastermind. Another one is private blog-based masterminds. And when doing this, if anyone's interested, I recommend using a password-protected blog for the content of the training. And then you can have discussions and create action planning during the meetup time. So these formats are one that help you to save time, and also it allows your participants, your masterminders, to digest the content accordingly, the way that they need to. And then also, I have found even using this, it helps them to produce better questions and how you can serve them better when they've actually had an opportunity to go over some of the training materials. Another format is Facebook Challenge Action Group Masterminds, and those are fun. And one of the unique features within Facebook groups is that you actually can pre-schedule content within there. And it also can provide just this sacred space for your mastermindees to be able to go and check out files or different audios that you have. A lot of times people use these kind of as complementaries to what they're doing, but I've actually run masterminds like within these groups. And so I like that too. Another one of my favorites is sales group masterminds. And that's really a small group. Of course, you can do larger groups, but I recommend that you get the maximum benefit when you don't actually have over 10 in a mastermind. But of course, like I said, you can facilitate larger ones as well. Another model is virtual retreat mastermind intensives. And I know Tammy may really be interested in that for the simple fact that she hosts a lot of retreats, and that's been one of her specialties throughout the years. Also, virtual VIP days, weekends, or week-long mastermind intensives. Those work well, and I really like doing those. Also, virtual VIP month masterminds. So I'm just going through just a few, and then we can open it up and be able to have some discussions. One more that I want to introduce is doing virtual 90-day to year-long masterminds, you know, as well. So these are just a few options that you can start wrapping your mind around, because I know a lot of times when people think about masterminds, they kind of have this focus that it's kind of in the traditional framework. But this here, as you can see, there's no one size fits all or a one-dimensional form of creating or facilitating masterminds. So, and it's less intimidating, so you don't have to be intimidated by this process. But before I open up the space, I am going to recommend that it's best to leverage at least 3 to 5 of these formats of the examples, you know, that I have provided, not all at once, just to have them within your business frameworks, even if it's in the a la carte, you know, type of way. But we can talk about that. So before I do actually open up the space to see how I can support or maybe even laser train some of you during this call, you can either speak or either type in the chat if what I've shared, you know, so far has resonated, and also maybe one of the formats that you might consider using in the near future. So again, either in the chat. Okay, go ahead, Tammy.
Yeah, I really liked everything that you've said there, and the way that I've run the masterminds in the past has been just, you know, identifying the strengths of people, their weaknesses, and then you know, they each get a certain amount of time, and they'll share a challenge that they're having. And because okay, so I see an apple, you see an apple, we see the same apple, but we see the differences as well. So those differences really help alleviate and come up with different ideas that the person might not necessarily see themselves. So I see that still running in that sense, but I really like what you were saying about, and I think this opens it up really well to be able to deliver training and open up discussions as well for the pre-recorded audio that you've said. So, you know, like, so I plan on putting them all into, you know, like a group, WhatsApp group, and then having the monthly kind of, you know, chats and stuff like that available. But, you know, those kind of areas, yeah, I can easily put in the group, the pre-recorded audio, yeah, of what, you know, of what the basis of that discussion might be. And then from there, it's like, you know, you can go from there and expand on that, which I think will be really awesome for to add the value, you know, because, yeah, I've got a few clients at the moment that are coming to an upcoming workshop that I'm running, and they've already identified some challenges that they have, some self-sabotaging limiting beliefs. And, you know, I figure I can spend the time one-on-one with them to help them, but it's like I get so much more out of, like as you were saying before, delivering it myself, you know, for myself, but so that everyone benefits, so that I'm helping a lot more people, leveraging my time rather than just doing it to the one person over and over and over. So I really love
Absolutely. Yes.
I was just
definitely
ask,
go ahead.
I have no idea on the costs or anything. I mean, I'd have to do some research and stuff like that. But these members are usually people that would come to my workshops, like live stuff, because here where I am on the Gold Coast, we're still, even though we're through COVID, we're a little bit restricted, but we can still, I'm still running, you know, events, just for small amounts of people. And it's those people, they're really hungry for it. Like they just want to, they want more and more and more. So I'm like, we're running more events, and they're all excited.
Yeah, the online aspect to bridge them into, yeah. And I do find that people actually do simultaneously run, or they'll leverage vice versa. They'll leverage a live retreat then to lead people into an online experience, or it'll be an online experience first and leads them into, you know, a live experience. I see that more with the retreat style masterminds for sure.
Yeah, I think that from what you were saying, it's for me, like I've got workshops coming up. So from that workshop, it's to an opportunity to upsell them into the mastermind, in which they'll get daily accountability and stuff. You know, there's formats that I'll give them that they can go away and do it, you know, themselves. But then from that, they can be part of probably a bit like an elite group kind of thing, where they're discount future face-to-face events, and just have that, you know, that sisterhood, that feel, you know, that they're having a bad day. It's okay to have a bad day. You know, allow, you know, this is a space where you can allow them to come out, and we can lift you up and raise you up, because we all have days like that. And, you know,
absolutely.
So it's more of a community, I guess, and having them mastermind like monthly. So I'm just trying to work out. I just have no idea on what I would charge them for that, because they're absolutely seeking it. Like they're coming to the events and they're like, all right, what's next? What's next? You know, they're just hungry.
they're hungry. Yeah, the pricing of them, that's kind of a different conversation, but certainly I definitely want to be able to have that with you. I think, you know, being able to start maybe putting together, you know, something, because that will also help you. I just will speak to the pricing briefly. When you know what you want to deliver, that's going to really help you to determine the price too, because now you could say, okay, I want to have a mastermind that makes this type of impact and this type of income, and then start filling in the grid. You can reverse engineer it like that. But I think the most beneficial way would start to be able to build the different levels and layers of value. And then once you determine exactly what all is in the packaging, then you can start being able to, you know, set the price with that. And then also if you're going to include any bonuses, you know, with that, it just adds more value to the experience. But yeah, but the pricing, that's, we can have a different conversation about that for sure. But I thank you for sharing that. I definitely want to come back to you. I want to see, you know, just check in with anybody else and see what spoke to them.
Perfect.
Brenda, I don't know if you've seen Brenda's chat.
I'm sorry, Brenda. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was talking away and I had myself on mute here.
Okay.
As I said in there, just to expand on that a bit, I really like your definition, your different categories of mastermind, because when I originally answered, it was on the traditional one from, you know, from Think and Grow Rich. And so really under the definitions that you gave, I have participated and run several different masterminds, both live and, you know, pre-COVID, very live interactive trainings and seminars, and now a lot of online ones. And I'm just setting up to do, just testing out a new product based on my Awakening Consciously book and stuff. And I'm just going to do three mini sessions of an 8-session training, but just to test market it. And
yeah, that's great. Yeah, doing betas, which is something I teach as well. Being able to do pilot or beta types of mastermind experiences are great too. And whether they're done in a weekend format or a week format, just any way that you can sort of test it, and gives you the feedback that you need in order to be able to, you know, produce the, I don't want to say the grander experience, but the more tremendous value experience. So you're definitely on the right track, you know, for sure. I'm really happy to hear that, and because, you know, I do know a little bit about your work and everything. It's phenomenal. I can already feel how a mastermind experience can definitely take them to the next level. So definitely want to play with you on a few more approaches too.
Good. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Gina?
Well, I've been experiencing the, I'm assuming it's the cohort. Sorry, no, the
yes, you have variations.
Well, I'm going to say lots of variations within that, and it's been really interesting to see how the dynamics shift when we're together on the mastermind, the pure mastermind calls, and then there's been challenges and then partnerships and so on. So it's been very interesting and very helpful to be part of that. When I look at the different things that you are suggesting, I think there are some that are very familiar in terms of the seminar and the private workshop, and even with the VIP days, those are things where even if they're slightly different, they feel very familiar and comfortable.
Yes. Yes.
I love the idea of the giving people the preparation of doing the reading, either through the pre-prepared audio or video, and also the bookshop version, because that holds people to accountable, so they will have actually done the thinking and they know they're coming ready to share and ask questions and so on.
Yes.
So it sets up an expectation in a very different way, and I think that's really powerful.
Oh yes, and thank you so much for sharing that, because of course I co-sign and totally agree with everything you said. You know, and yeah, the ones that you can do as much prep work, and I do know that sometimes people may feel that they don't have a lot of time to invest in that, but normally when you are dealing with high level individuals, they really don't see that as a challenge, because they, you know, desire to have the maximum benefit of the experience. But yeah, I do find in some cases that when you can have the pre-recorded or some type of, whether it's a blog or a publication or so, yeah, it definitely gives them, you know, an opportunity. It makes the call much more richer. You can move through things, you know, faster. So So I do a lot of different formats. Now you're in a very interesting one, as you say, because we have a lot of different dynamics going on.
Yeah.
But when I am just facilitating ones where it's just a specific thing, like within yours, because we have an alliance, which that's a completely different training of how to establish mastermind alliance with individuals that you will be training, but you're training also with them so that they can partner with you in business endeavors. So that's another format. I didn't really bring that one up, but that does have a lot of different layers to it. But when you're actually just doing one format at a time, and you can definitely do some combinations. I would not recommend mixing it up, too much, but the streamlined process of these, whenever you, let's say if you're doing an audio-based mastermind training and you, let's say, facilitate that in a Facebook group or email or combination. So yeah, they're listening to the audios, and then, like I said, the discussion is based primarily around what that training was, and if there was some type of exercise or an assignment that the audio recommended as a call to action, then when you meet with those individuals, then yes, you can be able to have that discussion. Yeah, the audios just help to eliminate, from a time perspective, the training. Sometimes when people are on the call, they're hearing and they have to go back and listen to it. But if they've actually been able to hear some things, which coming up soon, Gina, you all will be having audio formats too within the experience that you're having with me.
I mean, I can see that it helps in the sense that of the person delivering it. It saves a huge amount of time, and then you've got an evergreen product that you can use in a variety of ways. And if you have
absolutely,
it, then
yes.
it's publication. But at at the same time, the person who's on the receiving end, if they have had the opportunity to read and to process and digest, or to listen and process and digest, they've already moved on in a way that they wouldn't do, that you'd have to do that, some of that within the session, and the processing and it becoming embedded wouldn't happen in quite the same way. Yes. So I think that the quality of the questions and the dialogue and the capacity to move people forward, that becomes so much bigger, doesn't it?
Well stated. That's great. You should be teaching this too, Well, each of you actually could, just based on what I'm picking up. Yeah, I can definitely see why each of you are mastermind facilitators or trying to go to the next level with that, because just the value that you're sharing now, just within your experience and even the brainstorming ideas and things, makes me even more excited for those who are going to be participating in what you bring forth. So, at this time, because I just wanted to share a few concepts, I didn't necessarily want to get into a lot of different how-tos, just to introduce some different approaches, but I would certainly like to open up the space if anyone wants to jump in, and let's play around with a quick creation process of actually trying to set something up, that you would want to.
Yeah, sounds absolutely amazing. I'm in.
Great.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, let me serve you in whatever way that I can. So I know you have already talked about, because that's why we're having this training, is based on you wanted to hear more about the different models and being able to shift to the online space. And it seems like you kind of got a good handle on the direction that you want to go. So if there's nothing else that you want to add to that, we can certainly jump in and start playing there.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. So I think that, this is where we're sharing with what we might take away from this to create something. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and then if I can provide any, additional support or suggestions, around that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, as I mentioned before, so each group that I run, so I've got an event coming up. There's 10 participants already, and out of those 10, and out of those 10 participants, they're seeking new opportunities. So they're reaching out. So it gives me the opportunity to put them into the group. And so what my vision of the group is, and so I really do like the pre-work, what you mentioned as well. So I'd like to, think of some topics along the lines of what I've already been doing in the training. So the workshop that I'm doing coming up is all about increasing their energy vibration and showing them the unlimited possibilities that come as a result of that. And I'm really immersing them in the event for that day, like for the whole day. And so already they're walking away going, oh my goodness. And they're asking, how can I, so they're actually asking for the content that I can actually deliver them. But rather than throwing it all at them, all at one time, I can just, offer a suggestion of, what they can be doing on a daily basis in terms of rituals. And
that sounds great. Yes.
Yeah, but then also, so just aside just from the mastermind as well, I'm really big on, with a lot of personal development events and everything that I've been to, what's lacking is the accountability. So a lot of people, when they go there, they want to get the magic wand and then they just want to go home and they want it to happen. But life happens and gets in the way, and often they don't do the things. And I'm probably one of the 1%ers that actually sucks it up like a sponge and implements and sees the growth. And so people are like, oh my goodness, you're doing it. It's like, yeah, it's really not how we were taught. So what is lacking is that daily accountability. And so, I've got a simple format that I'd suggest, and I'd link them up, and I'll obviously teach them before through an audio. Suggest. An audio would be perfect to put them into a group like a Facebook group or the WhatsApp. Explain to them about what it is and how to do it. So I link 2 people up in each group, and they just have a short 5-minute conversation at whatever time suits them for every single day, and they'll do that. And I'll try to suggest that they do that 5 times a week, because by doing that they can't run away, they can't procrastinate, they can't hide.
That's right.
So they're going to get the results more so, because I'm results driven. I don't want to just be able to deliver this stuff and have them come back and ask again. I want to be able to see the results for them and enjoy the celebrations with them, so that they can grow, and then then they'll expand, like yourself, Ali. If you're providing great content, people are just going to share that, and you're just going to grow because you can empower more people. So there's that I wanted to include. There's the monthly mastermind. So it's your idea with the audio prior that'll set the tone on what we and I'll give them like a task to do beforehand, and so then we can just expand on that. And then whilst we're on that call as well, because they are doing their daily accountability, part of that they do share challenges. They share what their wins are, what their challenges are, what their intentions are, and often in just even one other person can just say, hey, is it okay if I coach you for a second? And because that person has to be open to it and can offer suggestions, and that can happen on a much bigger scale, like in the actual monthly mastermind. So if there has been a challenge that they can't possibly see, and it doesn't need to be just in business, it can be, because as we spoke about earlier tonight, it needs to be the total balance to have the fulfillment, to feel successful. It doesn't need to be just on the business. It can be, something.
So whatever the highlights of the topic. Anytime you can provide kind of a holistic experience, that's always going to be the best. And for all of you on here, definitely who've had the personal development and have spiritually practiced business, you know how important those different, components are. Something that I wanted to mention that was sort of coming up in awareness for me, just around what you're sharing, And I love everything that you're sharing. You definitely got your plan laid out, so you're solid and sort of ready to go. To add to the accountability, I would definitely recommend that a journaling process be incorporated if you don't already have that on the agenda, so that the mastermindees are able to track their own progress as well. And that is another way to hold themselves accountable for self-accountability, because, you know, a lot of times, you know, people get accountability outside of themselves, but there comes the personal responsibility. And so when they can actually be recording, you know, the journey as they're going along, tracking their progress as well, it just helps them to better formalize, think, and actually move forward to get the better results.
I love that. No, that's so perfect, because yeah, they can then actually then be able to share with others just
yes.
Came to, and yeah, definitely, I love that.
Good. Something else to sort of take the load off, not that it's going to be a load, you know, to you, but because we're all about simplistic ways of doing things, and also being able to add more value. You can also, if you hadn't thought of or have this on your agenda, is, you know, bring in another speaker, or have maybe a colleague or so that can either provide a recording or so to be another source of empowerment. So it doesn't have to be all the audio with you, or it can be a conversational training that you do, you know, with someone else around a particular area. So there's two different energies and perspectives, and that's another way that you can add more value to the experience.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that all of that all around will definitely help them progress and feel valued, and you know, really be able to watch themselves grow and prosper. Yeah.
Okay, great. You sound like you have it. I mean, you really have. I would be excited to attend whatever you. I mean, just the organization of it alone is intriguing. So that's, you know, so that's a great thing. So, and of course, we can have a additional conversation. You know, because we're, you know, connected. We can have definitely additional conversation about all of this. But I want to move forward real quick to someone else, and then we'll come back and kind of wrap it up with some closings. So anyone else want to share?
I was asked this week, there's the potential of doing a radio show, but just the topic of it was for those people who have been made redundant and who are struggling. And at one level, I'm happy to do it, that's not a problem, but I had thought this is something where it's quite difficult. I was finding it difficult to think, how do I then create a real value for them? That's not the problem, but also see this as an opportunity in terms of business. Following on from our conversation yesterday and today, what I think that I will do is I will create a book which includes a journal in terms of all of the activities that they need to work at, but also to do a 30-day mastermind where we meet weekly, where there'll be a theme each week, which will be perhaps be a short video or a blog or a piece of reading, perhaps a mixture. Then the group meeting, that they pay for the mastermind, and that they also that part of the mastermind is that not only the practical stuff, but also the energetic stuff around, you know, if you are in fear, you're not going to find a job that you love as easily as if you're doing it from a point of manifestation and of expectation. And so the 90 days is to help them develop the resilience, really, and the confidence in themselves. And that if part of the mastermind is that they agree to be filmed within that, that then becomes a product that can be useful for other people,
Mhm.
because not only from the teaching, but also from the interaction and the questions they ask and the challenges
Absolutely.
they face, will help them, will help other people. So I think that that
Absolutely.
could be quite a nice package with all
Oh,
sorts
absolutely.
of
Yeah. And it just adds more tremendous value, going back to what I just shared also with Tammy. Yeah, just in terms of when you can bring some other energy into there, it just elevates the experience. And so when you can have, just like what you're talking about, to have others who have, agreed to be able to, be filmed and participate in that way, then it gives your mastermind sort of a lab experience, in which, you all are within this one. Our mastermind certainly go through some laboratory mastermind labs. But yeah, when you can have other participants in those examples, those live demonstrations, or recorded, obviously, demonstrations to play back. Yeah, that's great. Those are just so many ways. Like even what I've been talking about today, these are just like some of the ways. I mean, I like have a variety. That's why my one platform, wow, she's got masterminds. Because I mean, I have like, over 50 different types of variations of masterminds. But these are really kind of the core. And as I mentioned,
just opening them up though, Ali, it's been for me, it's not so rigid, like it's just gone, okay, I'm already doing these things, kind of that you wouldn't think, and it's actually is adding value. So I really do appreciate the whole, and of course we're pretty aligned anyway. So it was like,
yes, we are. Yeah, no, great. Yeah, it is all about that. Anyone else want to share?
I can share a little bit about what I'm doing, and it's hard wrapping my head around calling it a mastermind, because my construct of a mastermind has been different until this call.
Well, good. Some disruption is taking place, right?
Absolutely, it's great. What I'm doing, my book is basically on the chakra system, and so it really fits in nicely to an 8-week program where I can do an overview and then 1 week on each of the chakras. And so the format that I'm looking at and open to advice on is just giving information on, what the chakra is, where it is, what frequency it's at, what challenges it addresses within your life, what damages it, what heals it, that kind of conversation at the beginning, and then opening it up to conversation around what people's experience is around each of those chakras, and then leaving with some homework. I love your suggestion of journaling. I've got meditations that go with each one of the chakras.
Yes. That's going to be perfect for your participants. Yes.
Yeah. And then they can practice that for a week. And so I'm thinking of, giving a week to work on each of those chakras, because it's very hard to move on to the next chakra until you've at least started.
Until you've grounded, yes, those fundamentals. Yeah, that's so important. One of the things I want to address and commend you on is the fact that you do have the meditations, and I've had the privilege to listen to some, and gosh, they're phenomenal. They're amazing. So I know the benefit that your participants will get with those. But being able to set the foundation with having them to listen and grasp those fundamentals before you can, move them on, it's going to be perfect. One of the challenges that I've done, and Gina has been a part of this in one of the Facebook 5-day challenges that is incorporated into the mastermind experience, is that I would do those challenges so it is priming the pump. So there are different audios that they would listen to start preparing the mindset, getting the atmosphere internally and externally ready for the experience that's going to be, what's going to be most important, for them. The foundations are, laying the foundations is extremely important. So being able to have that week that you're talking about, or so to start setting them up is perfect, because if you don't, especially when we're talking about the chakras and the work that you do, those fundamentals definitely have to be grounded and understood at a level in order for the rest of what you're bringing to be beneficial. So if you want to have a Facebook group or so that you can upload those different elements, whether it's your publication and also, you know, the audio, that they can keep going back and referencing, that would be an amazing component to have. And doing it in the 8-week format is really good. What also could happen is that being able to then transition those into something more expansive for those who you feel are going to be ready to sort of go to the next level. So that's something else I want to bring up right now, is that the benefits of having even the shorter mastermind format is that you can keep bridging them into other levels of masterminds, or bridging them into, you know, some of your higher tier work. So they work great, you know, to be able to, I don't necessarily say upsell in a sense, but definitely transition them into different realms of value.
Right. So one of my questions for you, AliNICOLE, is I have no real concept on pricing for something like this. Can you speak a bit to how you would price a mastermind?
Yeah, the pricing, I would say that's kind of like a separate call, kind of, but
okay.
Because the reason for that, and I definitely can provide an additional training on that to go more into some different details, but you know, kind of just a generalization is it is going to still depend on what are the elements that you are, you know, that you are providing. And so again, as I mentioned earlier, sure, we can say, okay, for an 8-week, you charge, you know, $4,800. So see, it just depends. What is the price range? What's the audience that you are trying to attract for this different experience? So that's why I said the pricing model gets into kind of a whole nother understanding, because it definitely depends on what market you're trying to address. Are you, you know, providing, you know, low economics, medium ticket? Is it high end? So that's why I said there's different pricing models for this. But the best way that you can start to, like I said, assess it is start putting together kind of what are the core elements. You know the value of which you know, sharing, and obviously it's priceless. You know, it's like put $1 million on it, right? Yeah, so you have to kind of look at those different elements. You know, especially when you're new to it. Like if you've been doing this for a while, then certainly you already have in your mind kind of a price range that you would want to, you know, be able to offer. But that's the thing too. My recommendation would be, especially if you're not used to doing these on higher levels, is to sort of create a tier format for yourself. Where you can just keep maybe bridging people into a higher value experience, which this becomes kind of a laboratory for yourself, that you can build upon the value of what that next tier, you know, might look like.
Right.
But yeah, that's why I said, yeah, the pricing, you can see now why the pricing of them, that gets into, like I said, a whole nother training, you know, format, because there's just so many different levels to that. But if you are trying to play in the medium ticket range, and you don't want to go over, like, let me ask you a question. Did you have any generalization of what you think you might price?
You know, I've been doing some market surveys, and it's, you know, for the 8 weeks, it goes between 500 and 1,000 is what the feedback is that I'm getting. And, you know, I guess I
definitely wouldn't price it less than $997. I wouldn't go less than that.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what I just need to get a kind of a ballpark on that.
Yeah, I definitely would not price it less, because even that is but again, it just depends on the audience that you're serving. I would say even that is kind of, I would still say that's a medium ticket range.
Okay.
But if you want to do sort of an introductory to something, then you certainly can offer maybe the $597. Okay. But if you are going to do that, I definitely would recommend that you do a lot of the pre stuff ahead of time, that you definitely have, you know, more audios and,
Yeah.
you know, PDFs, you know, different things like that, because the time that you extend physically, energetically, you know, that's currency as well. And if you want to create the vibration for higher level impact and income, then yeah, you you want to make sure that you are dispersing your time and dispensing your wisdom, you know, accordingly. So that makes a difference. But yeah, the pricing, like I said, that's a whole nother, it's a whole nother piece.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. But you have given me some good guidelines.
Oh, good.
It's
Okay.
just, you know, part of my challenge is I'm really comfortable with the corporate environment. This is the first time that I've really segued out to individuals, and
Oh, I see. Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah, that's a transition. Yeah, that's a transition, because when you think of corporate, your mind's already going into kind of a higher level tier. You can play around more with that. But yeah, it's interesting when people step over maybe into the spiritual community or higher conscious community. Yeah, the pricing challenges I find start to come in there, and that's a whole nother training as well.
You know, I was just going to say, add to that, Ali, because the model that I was talking to you about, that's great. This probably, but I was thinking, I have a lot of people, because I have overcome my health as well, and without really advertising, people will just come and they'll just ask, can you help me? And I can never say no. So I'm like, yes. But I see, rather than actually, because I do expend a lot of my time and I don't charge them at all, because I'm sending them to, you know, different products that I'm recommending, either mine or what we have on Zanara and stuff like that as well. But I can really see that it's better. I'll feel more valued myself if I put them into a mastermind group, because then I can just say, when they do, you know, approach me, rather than trying to run ragged and you know, maneuver my diary around to suit them. It's like, this is the times I've got a mastermind, you're welcome to join, you know, just to free up my time a little bit, because then I'm just not doing it over and over and over. Because
no, you're right. Let me say this really quick, is that, and if you are going to be actually doing some, you know, benevolence, I'm a high level benevolence energy too. It's part of my branding, my branding expression. But what you can do to serve even on that level, this is where even Facebook challenges or different groups like that, you can set up a group, and then, like I said, have the pre-recorded material and PDFs or different things, and allow them to be in that. So you don't have to dispense so much of your energy with, like, if you're talking and, you know, all the different things like that, because you want to make sure that there's the divine right value exchange. And even in you know, in benevolence, I have a saying. Well, I probably shouldn't say it, but so the purpose is, I don't mind being benevolent, but I'm not interested in becoming somebody's bee in the process, you know. So, but you definitely want to continue to add, you know, value, but putting them in a group, and you can do kind of, like I said, low impact, and do make some offers, you know, for sure. But that's a way to be able to leverage benevolence. Is put them in a Facebook group and have it a challenge, and let them go through that 5-day challenge or so. And then you can level them up maybe to a product, and then have them maybe come into a mastermind, a higher level mastermind experience.
Because what I find is with the people, when they're, you know, at that point when they're quite desperate, nothing will change unless they're open and willing and open to receiving. So the first part of the whole conversation is on mindset, basically, you know, and I'm like doing the same thing, and it's like, okay, I think you're right. If I even recorded some of the content that I'm delivering to someone, because it's such great information and it is really divinely downloaded, and I'm like, wow, that's powerful. So I think you're right, recording that would be really powerful, and so that it's accessible for others to be able to use as well.
No, definitely. And also too, leveraging interviews that you have done maybe around the topic, and whether it's some sound bites with that or just the interview itself. So there's a lot of different ways. There's so many different ways that you can set up, whether it's, you know, free facilitation that you're doing or a medium to high ticket. There's a lot of different variations, but you definitely, if you're not charging high end, you want to be able to not overwhelm people with documents and things like that, because I actually don't believe, I don't believe in that, to, you know, you provide so much and think that because you're giving them a whole lot, then that's what's creating the tremendous value. No, I'm really about simplicity, but in serving them at the highest level where you're not disservicing yourself, because if you are disservicing or dishonoring yourself even in the pricing, you're not really serving them at the highest vibrational bracket or vantage point either. So having these different masterminds, like I said, whether they're free, but they do need to have some type of intention that can lead people into the leveling up experience. So you got to create the win-win. But like I said, the pricing one, you all can see, that's a whole nother training, you know, around getting into that. But, you know, today basically was to just start to introduce some different levels of masterminds and how you can actually be incorporating the different variations. But I do, as I mentioned, you need at least 3 to 5 variations, whether you are just facilitating them in just the traditional format of, or it's a Facebook group, it's all facilitated, or you are kind of having a combination approach. But I would say at least have options that you can funnel people into, and you don't have to be facilitating these all the time, because it can be seasonal. You can use the 4 seasons model. Okay, in the summer, here's the mastermind that I facilitate. In the winter, here's the one, you know, so you all get that. So there's just different variations to it. But when you do figure out which audience you're serving and which price point you want to serve, then we can have a different conversation. You know, because you can build it, like you said, your layers and realms of value is what I call them, and that will help you to better determine your price. Because another thing you don't necessarily want to do, that it can seem beneficial, but it can also mess you up, is that if you actually do start trying to look and see who's charging what for what the traditional thing is that you have to really customize it and be divinely guided to what's going to be the best divine right value exchange. And I think that is the question, because the quality of our lives is, you know, lives are dependent on the quality of questions that we ask. I can't remember who said that, but it is the quote. But just asking, what is the divine right value exchange, you know, for this offering, you know? So you treat the mastermind experience as if it is a living, breathing, like a partner, a business partner. You know, what are we thinking here? What are we feeling based on what we're going to give? What would value? What would create the win-win, the divine right value exchange? So that's something to consider doing.
I think just like the aha for me, just then also it's just, I mean, I've got the things written down in my notes on my phone, you know, all the things that I recommend and blah, blah, blah. And the reason why I created Zanara is because then I can, you know, lead the people to the website, because that way then I'll benefit as well. So rather than charging a fee, I'm benefiting from, you know, from them purchasing through my website sort of thing, products and whatever. And so I'm giving, but just as you were saying, even just a recording, or just even I can just, you know, take a day out and just do the videos, because
do a get it done day.
Get it done day. It's like it's funny because I haven't even thought about that before. You know, this is the power of even just having these chats, because it's like so simplistic, right in your face, and it's like, duh, what, you know, like why haven't I just
power of masterminding energy, right?
It's this energy.
It turns on the light bulbs to things that you already know, but it just brings a higher level of illumination, to the experience. So yeah, like I said, there's, as you can see, I mean, there's a variety of ways and different, dynamics, but just, in a simplistic format is just, of course, getting started and doing it, because what I love about everyone who has shared is that you do have a direction. So you're not just kind of starting, blank, but the blank canvas does come where you can create, kind of this mastery is in your own exploration with this and building those different levels of value. So I would definitely, if I had to give sort of an overall arching highlight of you to focus, is definitely focus on the different levels of value, different realms of value that you want to build and bring to this experience, because like within that, that's when your, one of my terminologies is your profitable ahas, those light bulbs will come on and guide you in the best ways to make this a holistic, profitable experience for you and for the mastermind.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that's the whole power of, like even these chats and stuff every now and then. It's just really good to get together with high level people and what, to do. And it just, it just shines a light to what you need to do. So really grateful for that.
Oh, that's good. I'm grateful to have been able to, provide this. And if there's, if anybody else has any questions or so, definitely, if I can answer them, I certainly, would like to. I know we are a little over the hour.
Yeah.
So,
and it's, I was just going to just say it's 11:11.
Yeah, for you. Yeah. Yeah.
But that means there's angels. It's super late, but yes, there's angels everywhere, ladies. So.
Brenda, before I draw this to a close, have you got any final questions you'd like to ask?
No, this was great. Thank you very much.
So, AliNICOLE, I'd just like to say a huge thank you. You talked about layers and realms of value, and I think that not only have you spoken about it, but you've demonstrated it in real terms.
Thank you.
Because a number of levels, you have given us insights. It's interesting, isn't it, Brenda? You talked about that you'd not thought about Mastermind in this expanded way before, and I think that's the real value of this session, is that it's expanded, not only thinking in terms of the types of mastermind, but also how we can layer them and join the dots and create something much more expansive energetically, but also in terms of the range of opportunities that we offer for others. So a huge thank you. It's been really valuable.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you all putting this together for me to be able to share and dispense some wisdom and add some value.
And
thank you
really
very much.
We're from different parts of the world and coming together like this. So really grateful for Zoom.
Yes.
So ladies,